Hey, so in this video, I'm going to show you how we are using this growth modeling tool to help our customers run their business profitably. And not just that, but also scale their businesses profitably. And that is only possible if you know the numbers that you are getting and also the numbers that you must be hitting, especially on media platforms where you're spending money to run ads on, such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, etc. Like most of these business owners or even marketers, they don't really know how these numbers work and whether the business is ready to scale, meaning to grow. So without further ado, I'm just going to show you the process of how this specific growth modeling tool works. And I think that everyone should use a simulation modeling tool like this one, and you will see why just in a bit. Okay. So before we can get this tool to give us the numbers that we must hit, we have to add in our current business economics. Okay. And that's these numbers in here. So let's say that the average customer lifetime value is $10,000. Let's keep it as 10,000. And let's say that it costs $2,000 to fulfill on the service or the promise that we make, which leaves us at $8,000 marginal contribution. And let's say that we have operating expenses of $3,000 per month, which leaves us at $6,000 contribution after OPEX. Now, let's say that we are getting 5 new clients per month right now, which means that we make 10,000 in revenue per client, and 5 multiplied by 10,000 is $50,000 in revenue, which equals to $40,000 in gross profit and $30,000 in net profit, which leaves us at 60% net profit margin, which is fine. Again, this is just an example, right? Now, this is where the tool gets in handy. And let's say that we want to add an additional of $100,000 in revenue using the media platforms. Now, these blue numbers in here are where we can play around to give us like the minimum number of targets and the maximum amount of money that we can spend per metrics. And I'm going to show you just in a second what I mean. So let's say that we want to add an additional of $100,000 in revenue, but to get that, we need to spend money on these platforms. And let's say we are fine with spending $10,000 in ad spend, meaning the amount of money that we are willing to spend on these media platforms to basically publish our content, our advertisements, in order to acquire a customer, to get a new client. Okay. So the goal is to spend $10,000 in ads and make $100,000 in additional revenue, extra revenue, which leaves us at $90,000 in gross profit, which is very good. Like this means that for every dollar you spend, you make $10 back in revenue. Okay. Now we have added in here $10,000. Now we have to add in the percentage of landing page conversion rate. On average, a landing page can convert between 15 to 20% when the landing page is effective. Lower than 15% means that you can improve something at landing page. But let's keep this at 15%, okay? Because we just want to start out. And you typically, the people that opt in at the landing page, they either get to see a document, a white paper, a video, or like an introduction video, or like a video sales letter, like anything to inform the people that have opted in on your website. And pretty much in all these things, at the end, there's a call to action that asks the lead to book in a call where they can get more information about what this is and what it can do for them, right? And usually that converts between, like, this is what it says, lead to call conversion rate. And usually this hovers between 5 to 10%. But let's keep this at 5%, okay? So the lead to call conversion rate is at 5%. But we also have to add in the number of closing rates that we are either already getting or we think we can get, okay? 50% means that for every 2 calls that you are getting, you close 1. If you get 10 calls, you close 5, okay? Let's keep this at 50%. Now, in order to make $100,000 in revenue, we need 10 new clients minimum. If we close each call at 50% with a closing rate of 50%, that means that in order to close 10 new clients, we need to get 20 booked calls, okay? In order to get 20 booked calls, we need 400 leads because the lead to call conversion rate is 5%. And in order to get 400 leads, we need to get 2,667 clicks, okay? Now, in order to get this number, we cannot spend more than $3.75. Because if we spend, let's say, $4 per click on the media platforms, then we will not be able to get this number. And if we don't get this number, if it's lower than this amount of number that the tool gives us, then we won't be able to get the leads and the calls and the clients that we have to get in order to get to $100,000 in revenue, okay? So that's the simulation tool. It gives us the numbers that we think we will be getting and the numbers that we should be getting. So let's say that we have started at month 1. We've spent $10,000 in ad spend, but instead of spending the maximum amount of dollars to get a click, which is $3.75, we got clicks for $2. If we spend $10,000 on ads and we spend on average $2 per click, that means that we get 5,000 clicks, okay? And so let's say that everything else, like the landing page conversion rate, the leads to call conversion rate, and the closing rate stays the same. Only the cost per click was lower than the tool gave us. That means that we get more clicks, we get more leads meaning we spent less to get leads, and we get more calls, which means we spent less to get a booked call, which means we get more clients, meaning we spent less to get a new client, and essentially we make a lot more money just with this single change in here where the cost per click is $2 instead of $3.75, which is amazing, right? Like we just made $180,000 in revenue. Now, let's say at month 2, we say, okay, we are going to increase the ad spend to $20,000. But what happens is, instead of spending the $2 per click, the media platform increases the cost per click to $2.5 per click. We still get a good amount of clicks because we spent more on ads. However, the cost per click has increased. Let's say the landing page converts at 15%. However, since we have closed a lot of clients, we have gotten a lot of leads, we also got a lot of information. Like we know more about their pain points, about their desires. So we have changed the VSL or the video in our website, which increased the leads to call conversion rate from 5 to 10. And let's say that the call conversion rate still is 50%, okay? Now, our revenue has increased from $180,000 to $600,000. Like, this is an exponential increase in growth. $600,000 in gross in revenue and $580,000 in gross profit. Now, I have to say that these numbers are very optimistic because usually when you start increasing your ad spend and you make changes, you have to hire either more closers or hire people for your sales team, which means that you need to train them, etc. So the call closing rate can decrease to, let's say, 30%. But still, even though we decreased the closing rate to 30%, the revenue is almost, like, it is double from the previous month. So this is how the growth modeling tool works, okay? And we can always update the simulation modeling graph, a tool here. So if we want to get to $500,000 in revenue and we are able to spend $50,000 in ad spend, we just copy and paste these numbers for month 2 because we know that the landing page converts at 15%, the lead to call conversion rates converts at 10%, but we are planning to hire more closers. Like we are planning to increase our sales team, which means that they have to learn and become better. So we decrease the closing rate to 20%. Okay. That means that we cannot spend more than $3 per click. And we cannot spend more than $20 per lead. And we cannot spend more than $200 per booked call. Does that make sense? Because we already know the numbers that we are getting right now. And in order to scale to $500,000, we now know that we cannot spend more than these numbers. Okay? Either we have to keep these numbers below this, or we have to fix where the biggest bottleneck is. Okay? So yeah, that's how this works. I hope this was helpful and you've gotten value from it. If you have any questions, just go to my website, onwardconsulting.com, click on the white paper or on the thesis that's